Howdy, a few days ago Blood Bowl 3 got patch 1.2.3.0, which on the surface looks like kind of a tiny patch, but it has a few things I thought was interesting enough to highlight. First of all, let's check out the patch notes, shall we? The Lissamen are now in the in-game shop, and we are going to look at that a bit later, compare the warpstone cost of different things. The menu enhancements, I don't care. But the match improvements, here's when it gets interesting, because the first one says fixed sneaky git skill allowing movement after performing a foul, which is interesting for two reasons. First of all, when Blood Bowl 3 launched, the rules used, for the most part, were of those in the original rulebook. Since then, Games Workshop has a Blood Bowl errata for the current rules, which they update every 6 months or so. And a lot of the rules in the printed rulebook are no longer the current rules. However, Blood Bowl 3 has been following the printed rules in the rulebook, with the previous change to swarming with the launch of Underworld in Season 2, because swarming is following the up-to-date rules. Now, Sneaky Git is also following the up-to-date rules, meaning it's looking more and more likely that Cyanide has put in at least some effort to make the game be up-to-date with the current rules quicker than some of us, meaning me, actually expected. So that's interesting. They've also addressed the localization problem with swarming dice log entries. Prior to this patch, you wouldn't actually see what the die result was on swarming during kickoff. It was still pretty obvious because, you know, if you had two snotlings on the pitch and you were only allowed to add one, then you kind of knew that you rolled one. But it's still nice to see that the dice is now there and displaying properly. They've also fixed an unresponsive state during a pass interception and fixed an unresponsive state in some dump-off skill interactions. I suffered from this at least once or twice, I think, where you try and pass over an opponent, and when they then try and intercept, the game just... it doesn't let you do anything, but the timer ticks down until there's no time left, and then it still doesn't do anything, so it's a chicken race until someone concedes, which sucks. Hopefully that's fixed now. And they've improved dice log entries for Stiletto, Knuckle Dusters, Bad Habits, and Greasy Cleats. Prayers to Nuffle. This is, you know, an area that I've said several times in games. It's kind of hard to keep track on who gets what, when, and even which team wins the result of some of these. So I'm happy that they're working on making that clearer. And lastly, at least for me, out of the ones I think matters most, is during Miscellaneous, they've said Journeymen are now correctly counted to the maximum TV cap when attempting to join an official ladder match. So previously, the TV that the matchmaking used was the TV of your team, not the TV of your team plus Journeymen, meaning you could end up in situations where you're playing against a fresh team with a really beat up team, and then you get like 3 journeymen and they're kind of like shit out of luck. And those are the patch note updates that I think are worth talking about. Now let's go over to the in-game shop and have a look, shall we? Now the new updates to the shop can be found up here if you click the shop, and then you go to factions, and then you go to listed men. Of course, I already own these, but I can still click here and we can see what the cost is. Now, if you just want to unlock the lizard men, it's going to cost you 750 warpstone. If you want the standard pack, that's 1250, and if you want the premium pack, that's 1500. Now, there are some things to note here. First of all, a standard blood pass for the current season costs 1000 warpstone. So buying these guys after the fact are essentially cheaper than buying them with the blood pass, but of course you're missing out on all of the blood pass content, assuming you want those cosmetics for other teams and whatnot. Also, the blood pass actually gives you 250 warpstone on the blood pass itself. 50 of those warpstones are free, meaning when you buy a blood pass, at least so far, complete the whole Blood Pass, you get 250 Warpstone back from your initial purchase, meaning the Lizardmen cost here is essentially the same as it were if you just bought the Blood Pass. Of course, if you don't buy the Blood Pass and unlock the whole thing, you do get Lizardmen for free, or rather you get the current faction of the Blood Pass for free. So if you're willing to play 50 games-ish to unlock the whole Blood Pass, you will get the current faction of the season, this season being Underworld. Now, there is a standard pack here that has some more stuff in it. This is just more cosmetics. As you can see, some of these here are grayed out, meaning I already own them, but most aren't. These cosmetic items, as far as I can tell, have not been on the previous season's Blood Pass, nor are they available in the shop currently. So the only way to get this Trotter head, for example, is to actually buy the Blood Pass. If you go into the Premium Pass, which costs twice 1,500 Warpstone, you get all of... My assumption here is that you get all of the standard pack stuff because it's available further back here. You get some of the stuff that's on the Blood Pass, meaning the ball, but there is a different set of Lizardmen dice. And then there's even more like rare and exclusive stuff. So if you want to play dress up with your Lizardmen and you have all of the money in the world to spare to do that, you know, your best bet is probably the Premium Pack. And if we go here to player customization, just to prove that fact, if I go to Lizardmen here, we can see all of the stuff that's currently available in the shop. Now, if there was something here that was available for purchase, which, for example, on the Black Orcs, of course, I have a bunch of stuff I can buy, but I don't want to. Meaning, none of the stuff that we saw in the standard or the premium pack are currently available in the shop. I don't know if it will be available later or not, but it's currently not available. So what does that tell us then? Well, in my mind, it tells us that future factions that you have not been able to unlock through completing the Blood Pass or buying the Blood Pass in the season they're launched will be available in the shop for a cost that's slightly lower than the Blood Pass itself. If you think that's good or if you think that's bad, that's kind of up to you. I'm gonna get everything anyways, so, you know, my opinion really doesn't matter here. It's more down to what your gaming budget is. I will say I do like the fact that you can get most of these factions for free if you're able to play during the season. And since the season are as long as they are, if you're a Blood Bowl head like me, you can do it. Yay. But more importantly, we're getting rule revision updates to the game to have it conform with the current errata, which I think is very cool. That's all. Thanks so much. Goodbye.